Welcome back. This is Drifting the Plains 4. This is the last point series of the season. Before we get into the action, I want to just touch base on a couple things real quick. When we got to the event and I was backing the car off the trailer, my wife noticed some fluid coming out of the exhaust. And she said something to me. So me thinking it's just warming up, condensation in the exhaust, no big deal, right? Well, this is the first event where I'm running a straight pipe, so it's 2.5-inch stainless all the way back. I took the muffler off. Going up against V8s and stuff, I could barely hear my car. So this is the first event with it like full flow exhaust. So she said something, but no big deal. Leaning back on coming off the trailer, any condensation from starting it up is coming out of the pipe, right? So I parked the car and I went back while it's idling, and it's just like spitting fluid out of the tailpipe. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Normally it would clear up by now because it's warmed up. So I just kind of, caught some of the fluid on my fingers and I smelled it just to see if it didn't have a smell, like it's just condensation, or if it was something different. So the smell of it was gasoline. It was like straight gas coming out of the exhaust. That's not good. So this is also the first event after 2 events of not having my AFR gauge working properly. The ground was coming off, so it was flickering on and off. So I wasn't getting a good read, but I knew there was plenty of fuel. And there was a lot of extra fuel going in. So going into the first laps, you'll see it sputters a little bit here and there. It poofs out some black smoke like it's running really rich. So I'm making some adjustments on the fuel table in between laps and just trying to clear it out and make sure it's running really good. So that's what was going wrong at the previous event, Drifting the Plains 3. I was overfueling the car, and this is like a for sure answer. That's what was going on. So I cleaned up the fuel table and took a couple laps, and it seemed like it was doing a little better. So I leaned it out just a touch more. It was kind of in the mid-range, and it was running really good. So it felt like it had way more power than it has in the previous events, because now it's not flooding itself. So it's able to run, it's able to breathe correctly with the turbo, fixed a couple more wastegate things. But then I started running into a different issue. I started to lower the pressures in the rear because it's really going. So I want to grip it up a little bit to keep up with some of these faster cars. And that's where the trouble came in, is I started to grip it up a little bit too much. I'm making a little more power because it's not overfueling. And after the first 5-6 laps, I could feel the clutch was slipping. And you can kind of see it if you pay really close attention to some of the inside camera views. On the RPM gauge, it just gets up to like 4,500 RPM, 5 grand, and then just smacks the limiter. That's the clutch slipping, and I really had to like feather the gas through a lot of the laps. So I didn't get as much practice on Friday as I would have liked to. I called it early so I didn't kill the clutch completely to save some for comp on Saturday. On Saturday morning, I only ran 1 lap. I bled the clutch and everything. I didn't want to wear the clutch out funny because it was already slipping. I jacked the tire pressure up in the rear and I stiffened the suspension just to see if it would take a little bit of the load off of the clutch. But it was still slipping, and you'll see that in comp, kind of what happened with that. So yeah, we'll get into the action. After the first couple laps, I just kind of ripped it down the drag strip and down into the burnout box, trying to replicate what was going on track. Just kind of dropping RPM and then getting back on it. It was like flooding it, so I was data logging that whole run in the back area, just to try and see where it was spiking fuel. So I was able to clean it up a little better and be more accurate on the fuel table. Other than the clutch slipping, the car felt really good after I cleaned up the fuel map, and going into the event, I was really hoping that it'd be really competitive, but unfortunately when things go wrong, you just do the best you can and you have fun. Going into top 32, I had to chase first, and I was trying to take it kind of easy. The lead car kind of took off on me on the start. I wasn't fully paying attention to when we started, so I had a really late start, and I had to try and catch up a little bit without pushing the car too much because I wanted to make it through both lead and chase runs without having the clutch slip too bad. When I did my lead run coming into the initiation, I didn't do the normal manji. I was practicing just so I didn't put too much load on the clutch, and that kind of bit me. I ended up initiating too late and I slid off track, caught one tire, the back passenger tire, and it just pulled me off. It's unfortunate, but learn from your mistakes, and then I knew what I needed to do to fix the car and make it better for the next event. After competition, I jacked the tire pressure up like into the 40s, so then it was not putting a ton of stress on the clutch and smoking the flywheel. So the last couple of runs were just for fun, taking it easy, not really throwing it too hard. And I ended up calling the day early on Saturday and heading home. It wasn't worth trying to damage the transmission or the clutch or anything internal any more than it was. Just take it home and do some work on it and prep for Drifttoberfest, and that's the next event. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.